everyone. I hope all of you are doing good. Back to business. Wonderful Diwali. I'm sure all of you must have had wonderful sales this Diwali. Um, Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Payoneer, for organizing this wonderful event with you, wonderful people. So I'm Anshuman Jain. I work for Shopify, and I'm going to talk a bit about today merchants planning to go international. What are the things that they should consider while going international, and a few facts around numbers and all those things. Yeah. So, with your permission, Pioneer team, I'm going to share my screen. So great. Here I am, and I'm going to talk a bit about merchants, D2C, going international, things that are supposed to be taken care of while you launch an international store, and even including cross border. Like, even if you, so one is like cross border shipping from India, and second is opening altogether international store. So I'm going to try to cover both the scenarios in this discussion today. Yeah. So before all this, let's look at the numbers. Retail globally is supposed to be at close to $5 trillion by the end of 2021. Yes, retail, total retail. And e-commerce out of it is supposed to have a share which is close to 17 to 18%. This was at the start of 2020, and the stats more or less remains the same. We might see a slight change in stats for the e-commerce numbers, like from 18% might be like 19%. But primarily that's the scale we are looking at. Largest markets in e-commerce, largest e-commerce markets globally, and this data is again from 2020 by a company called Statista. China being by far the largest market, followed by US. India does close to $80 billion, and that's what the expected number for 2021. Since we've spoken about numbers, now I want to share an interesting stats for a lot of customers outside India, how they love and what they shop. There was a stat by this company, again Statista, that 63% of the Europeans look to shop on e-commerce websites outside their region, and this number drops down to 55% for Africa. Now the reason why this is happening is because 72% of them feel that they get better pricing for the products. They get better products. The products that they find on these international websites are not available in their country. Interesting products, better quality, and shipping is like really affordable, so price doesn't matter. So in totality, 57% of the respondents had already shopped from a website outside their region. The multi-store approach. So you as a merchant, when you have a domestic store and then you plan to launch an international store, there are a few things that you definitely need to consider. So step number one, you can always launch from your existing store with maybe similar pricing and adding shipping costs and ship outside your borders. Now the problem with that is respondents sitting on the other side, they might not like that. If your product cost is 2,000, you're charging another 1,500 for shipping, it doesn't work really well. So it's important, and the way it works on single website with being catering to domestic as well as international. So you should try taking this approach of setting up multiple stores. Yes, multiple stores. Like if you're targeting North America, you can have one store for North America. You can have a store for Europe, maybe Middle East, Australia, and New Zealand. By doing this, you will have a lot control about localization. When I say localization, currency, payment, as in payments, payment methods from those countries, language. You know, if you're selling in Europe, so let's say countries like France and maybe Germany, if your website has got local content, as in German and French, your chances of conversion will reduce. Your conversion percentage will reduce. So talk the local language, get local content on your website to increase your percentage on your websites, or the conversion percentage. A few ERP tools and a few tools you see on your screen. One is called Geolizer, which can help you manage your geotagging. Langify for multi-language, and a couple of other stores which you see on the footer of my screen will help you manage multi-stores from one location, managing the OMS and even managing the inventory. Okay, great. I spoke about payments in my last slide. The stats are that 59% of the consumers don't shop. Like if I take you yourself as an example, all the purchases that you do from your respective vendors, if you don't get your preferred payment method, you don't do it. Someone wants in cash, someone wants 2 months of credit period, and so on and so forth. So the same goes for shopper on an e-commerce website as well. Like for someone like me, if there's no cashback on a credit card, I won't shop. Yeah, so it's very important that you have more payment methods that that country accepts, and currency being an important part. So so at Shopify, we have ready integrations with most of them. Like Payoneer has integrated with 2Checkout. You've got Apple Pay, and then Shopify as a platform, we have over 350 integrations, 350 plus payment gateway integrations for each of those top countries where you plan to sell your products in. Language. Again, I talk about localization. So, it's very important to talk the language of that country. And let me give you an example. When KFC was launched in China, in Beijing, so they have like a punchline, yeah. So the punchline is finger licking good. Now, when the Chinese read this, they translated this as eat your fingers off. It wasn't a very good example of launching a brand where you say eat your fingers off, but then yeah, the meaning got changed. So it's very important for you to have your content in local language. It helps you having a better SEO strategy. It helps you in talking the language in your customers want. And then important, your communications, your correspondences, emails that you send to the customer from your website, the shipping packages, all that has to be in that specific language. This will make your sales, your conversion, and your respondents have a better acceptance for your website in their countries. Considerations, yeah. So as I was talking about payments, setting a website and all those things, a couple of other things that you need to definitely look at. A good option would be that you set up a legal entity in one of those countries or tie up with someone in that country who can be your master seller on record. This helps you getting a local payment gateway easily. You set up a few tools on doing geo blocking. The reason I'm saying geo blocking is it's called geo fencing. The reason you do it because your pricing in Europe might be different to your pricing in India. A product that you sell in India, say for 2,000 rupees, might go in Europe and sell for 50 euro, which is like close to 4,000 rupees because of various reasons. One, logistics, import export duties and all those things. So it's very important that you don't let your customers in different countries access your websites of other countries, and geotagging will help you do that. Accept global payments, create expansion stores. So if you are on one of our enterprise products on Shopify allows you to set up 10 expansion stores. So you can manage same content in a different language, in a different currency, manage all your orders in one store and in one location. All that is really possible. With Shopify, we even offer you pre-integrated logistics. Customs and duties is something you need to be really, really careful of. I'm going to talk about this later in my slide, but yeah, having an international marketing strategy is very important. So your product, the market need, the competition knowledge, the kind of competition you have in those categories. So I want you to ask a few questions to yourself before launching international. Am I selling the right product that the global market wants or that specific country wants? Is there significant or sufficient demand, or is the demand still not satisfied by a local company? What should your price point be? Yeah. At what price does international e-commerce make sense for your business? Does your in-house team have the skills to juggle with your both in domestic and international websites? Do I have a customer support team in that language? And do your business needs a local presence? If you're selling handicrafts, then you might say that this is an Indian product that's going to be really good. But if you're selling something for that specific market or specific range, then it's like being a local business always preferred. So these are just a few top questions which I could gather, but it's very important for you to ask yourself a lot of questions before going international. Yeah, this helps you to strategize better. This helps you to get to maybe it's good to fail, but and treat this as a learning. But if you do your homework well, the chances of success would be really better. Paperwork. So if you're shipping from India an import and export license would be required. You would use an LUT or a bond of tax. It's like the tax benefit that you want to provide. And if you in any case want to set up some business entity in the North America, LLC would be the best option for you. It's called the limited liability corporation or the limited liability company that we have in India. Great. So I've talked about something called geotagging. I've spoken about multiple websites. Let me elaborate that a bit here. When you open multiple websites, now you can open multiple websites in two ways. Let's assume your brand is called ABC. Yeah. Now you can do two structures. One, so let's say it's us.abc.com, or you can say abc.com/in, or the best and the way I understand, which helps really well for your SEO, would be a subdomain implementation like in.xyz.com, us.xyz.com, and maybe uk.xyz.com. So both of these strategies, they work really well. Consult with your SEO guys. For me, the way I've seen, a subdomain implementation works the best, because then you have the same domain with the same .com and just an extension towards the beginning of it. Then geotagging, I think we've already spoken about it. I've already spoken about it. So yeah, it's very important that you build geotagging. You can do a manual, you can write manual codes as well. But we also have a few apps on App Store which can help you managing the IP addresses and tagging of those websites to make sure that the consumer access the right website with the right pricing and they're not confused with multiple websites. Great. I've spoken a bit about it, and we've spoken about the respondents don't shop without a payment option. But yeah, Shopify payments can be one of the options if you're going in one of these countries. But for that, you will have to have an entity in one of those countries. But sitting in India, to check out integrated with Payoneer and PayU can be one of those good options for you to get settled and your money back in India. Yeah. A bit about expansion stores. So multiple store equals expansion stores. When you are on an enterprise license on Shopify, we help you setting up, or in one plan, you can set up 10 different websites. The screenshot tells you, this is a screenshot of the Shopify admin, where from one backend, you can switch between your stores, and there are functionalities that you can manage all the orders of your multiple stores within one dashboard. Yeah. When you go on Plus, you get access to an MSM, Merchant Success Manager, who can help you integrating a couple of those things. You can change your admin, your default currencies for the specific sites. The product update, the products can update automatically, but you will have to change the currency and pricing. So you'll have to manage. Some attributes can happen on their own, but for things like inventory, pricing, content, SEO, all those things you will have to do independently on those websites. Yeah. And please, very important, as I said again, since it's all about payments, because you need to collect payments, a local payment gateway or at least local currency is very important. Great. So like then we have options of logistics. We have integrations with DHL who help you send shipments from India to anywhere in the world. And then you can also have a local shipment partner like Amazon Fulfillment in one of those countries. Yeah. More or less, that was about payments with logistics. Now, one last consideration, like this is my last slide, just one last consideration. If you are sending your shipments from India, yeah, there can be two options. One, like duty paid and duty not paid. Like if your goods are being sold, where you tell the logistics provider from India that I'm going to take care of all the duties, then it's the most seamless experience. And with most of these Western countries, their processes are really streamlined. Their things are really streamlined. It's very important for you to learn, read the percentage. You can build those duties in your pricing and get them delivered to the customer without any hassle. If you send a shipment duty paid, your conversion will really increase. And that can be one of your USPs on your websites. With this, I come to an end of my slides. Thank you. Really, I really appreciate all of you taking your time and listening to me so patiently.